So when analyzing a rental deal or some sort of investment property, when purchasing an investment property, there are a few numbers you should be aware of. These are a couple that you can do super quickly, just using the purchase price, and if you know the rents, you're going to need to know the rents and any kind of operating costs, expenses that you'll have associated with that property. So the first one is the gross rent multiplier, or the GRM. This is just basically the purchase price when you were to purchase it, divided by the gross annual rent equals the GRM. The lower that number, the better. So essentially, if you purchased a property for $300,000, you divide that by, say the rent is $3,000 a month. So it'd be $300,000 divided by $36,000 for 12 months. That would get you your gross rent multiplier, which the lower that number, the better. That's a better deal. Way to understand if that's a good deal is depending on what that area is. It's going to be different from each area. You take the average. If it's less than the average, then pretty good investment. Cap rate, that's something that is said all the time by investors. What is the cap rate? It's your annual net operating income. So after paying all of your expenses and everything, getting your rent, that annual income, so say it's $36,000, but you got to pay a certain amount each month, your annual income might be $25,000 for that property. Pretty good. Divided by the purchase price, so $25,000 divided by $300,000, for example, will get you your cap rate. What you got to make sure though is you'll see properties, especially like multifamily properties, and in the description they will have the cap rate. Always double check that cap rate. It's likely not true. What sometimes they can do is they'll use the tax rate, for example, or the taxes from the current owner. So if the current owner bought the property 20 years ago, their taxes are going to be quite a bit different than your taxes purchasing the property right now. Other things might have changed. Your operating expenses may be different from theirs. Maybe they did not have a property management, but you plan on having a property manager for this particular investment. Those will be calculated into the cap rate. What is not included is your mortgage. So there is a different parameter for that, but you do not include your mortgage expenses. This should be for essentially everybody. So whether you pay cash or you finance the property, the cap rate is going to be the same. If there's any questions about any of this, anything I could go in a little bit more detail, please feel free to message me. Otherwise, this is just a quick overview of just a couple parameters that are used by most investors to go ahead and pick an investment property just using the numbers that they can grab right away. Rent in the area, you may not need to know the exact rent for this unit, but if you know the surrounding units, kind of can get an idea of what the rent could be. You could use an average, then use the purchase price that is listed, or use a purchase price that you would buy the property at, and then this can get you just a couple parameters. You want your GRM, again, to be as low as possible, below the average for that particular area, so it's going to be different from different regions of the country. You want your cap rate to be as high as possible. For here in Los Angeles area, cap rate of 4 or 5 is pretty normal. If you have something closer to 7 or 8, that's an excellent property. Definitely something that you could look into some more, but for just right off the bat, as soon as you see a property, these are a couple numbers that can give you an idea of kind of what you're looking at. So hopefully that helps.